This is the future of construction.
You know, it's only a game, Danny.
That's the point.
Hello and welcome to The Lucas Show with me, Kate McIntyre.
And me, Danny Lucas.
Thanks guys so much for all of your feedback so far. Danny, I know you've got a couple of shout outs.
Yeah, massive thank you to Bob Noceda and Martin Andrews for some great comments. Really getting some great feedback.
Yeah,
Kate.
and
Really
thanks
good.
also for signing up to our YouTube channel. So everyone's very tech savvy at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, we're building a really great subscription there with
Yeah.
audiences signing up, so it's fantastic.
So talking about technology now, technology from the gaming industry is now coming into the world of construction. So from shoot 'em up video games to buildings shooting up on the Cityscape, VR is definitely the new kid on the block. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. And Lucas have been at the forefront of that for the last 4 years now, working very closely with a very interesting company.
So obviously you know heaps about this. I don't. So to fill me in on everything, Danny sent me off to Cityscape Digital in London to find out more. Take a look at this. Now, this building might not look as I'm about to step into the future, but you guys are in for a real treat. And so am I, because hopefully I'll be exchanging this eyewear for something a bit more high-tech that apparently is going to take me to a whole new world. Here we are at Cityscape Digital, where all the magic happens. It's a real hotbed of creativity. Everyone's buzzing away, working at their stations. And I've managed to grab hold of George, who's going to fill me in, George, aren't you, on what goes on here? Hiya.
Hi.
So you're starting off with a blank canvas then. How do you begin to colour it in and turn it into life?
So there's two sides, I would say, to the project. Is the technical side is we've received a model from the architects and the clients, and then the other side of it, which is the more creative side, is thinking about the key messages and mood, so time of day, time of year, the type of people using the space, where it is in the world, because obviously we work on things internationally.
So you're really pulling in all sorts of everyday issues and the local environment and so many different bits of information.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also often an emphasis that the client are looking for that needs to come up first. To get the most of the space, we start looking at references. So basically the most successful image is something where you've actually looked at real life. This is something we would present to the client.
So you're really trying to bring it to light with this digital mood board, if you like.
Exactly, yeah.
So what's the next stage then? Is that where we see it all in action together?
We'd photograph real people, add them in.
Now I'm sure the clients will be blown away with these images, but what if they want to see them moving? How do you guys facilitate that?
So perhaps in a meeting you could have the stills on a screen, on the wall, or they're in print, but then also the client could get their clients to run through VR on a screen.
Fantastic.
So the whole thing can be taken to the VR and they take it from there.
Okay, well, just the mere mention of VR means that I know there is a pair of goggles with my name on them somewhere because I've not been in there yet. So thank you so much for chatting. I'll leave you with the stills.
Thank you.
And I'm going to goggle up. So we're moving seamlessly from the static image out there to the moving one in here with James and Chris. Hi guys. So thanks for letting me come into the room of the future, it feels like, in here. Look at these screens. So talk me through what goes on in here, Chris.
What he's got is a block massing, which we did quite quickly after getting normal 2D drawings from the architects. But what we're trying to encourage is for as many people as possible in live workshops where we can basically shoot around ideas, test them straight away, and any ideas that kind of don't work, put them aside. The ones that do, we can move forward with, and that kind of saves from abortive work later.
Okay, so this sort of blocking that you're doing, it's almost like making a Lego model, a very basic blocks, and then people are all going to sit around the table and say, can we go a bit higher?
Exactly.
Can we have a different entrance? So what sort of things can we show on there?
If you've got an idea, say for example, doing retail on the ground floor, James can straight away put some retail into it, have some scaled people, and within a couple of minutes in that workshop, you can test and really feel if the space actually works. Being able to see it and imagine it and imagine yourself there is really important, and it makes you relate to it.
So with that in mind then, what kind of reaction do you get from people sitting around the table that see this for the first time and can't believe what you're offering them?
It comes as a shock in the beginning, more the speed that it's going on.
Yeah.
But then when you realize that you want to have as you want to be focused on the design, on the feedback that people are getting. When you think about that compared to having to wait the weeks on end of kind of emails and feedback, compared to a live workshop where you're actually talking to people and getting instant feedback.
Yes,
then
and then they're seeing instant changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the benefits then, obviously, time saving,
Time saving.
money, ka-ching.
That's a very big thing for us, yeah. Money.
So then, obviously, when they've said the few changes they'd like, they've seen everything, and they think, yeah, that looks great. I want to get in there. I want to immerse myself in that world. I don't want it on the computer. I don't want it on the controller. I want the headset, Chris. It's the only reason I've come today. Oh, that's really weird. Wow. Okay. 1 minute I'm in Shoreditch, next minute I'm in Westfield. Talk me through my experience here. I'm in the middle of a lovely open space.
So hopefully this gives you a better understanding of what that space is actually going to be like, compared to a public realm space that you would see on a 2D drawing. How busy it would actually be. This was used initially as a marketing tool until you got into it and did a few workshops and realized that we could still use it for development.
I'm actually quite happy in the cafe. In fact, I've worked out this would be great in real life. You see a hot guy and you can just go and stand right next to him instantly. Virtual reality dating, you heard it here first. So being serious though, this is fantastic to actually be part of this scene and see, you know, where you can walk along. And I know it's obvious, but I just looked up and it goes all the way to the top.
It does go all the way to the top.
Yeah. So that's me coming along as a layperson, not really knowing what this world's all about. I can imagine for clients here at Cityscape Digital, when they actually start to walk around what they are hoping to create and finesse it and tweak it and make those little changes that actually at that point are easy to do, but in the long run will make a massive difference. They're saving time, they're saving money, and they're getting a wow factor that, well, is beyond what they could have ever imagined. So joining us in the studio today is Damien Fennell, the MD of Cityscape Digital, to tell us even more. Hi, Damien.
Hello.
You all right?
Damien,
Thanks.
good to see you again.
I know you boys go back a long way, so come on. When did you start working together?
So we were working together on the Sky Central building, which was an amazing project over at Isleworth area, and I got introduced to Damien there, where Cityscape were doing some amazing stuff with virtual reality that I hadn't ever seen before.
No.
And we went on a tour of McLaren together and saw the technology there, and the rest is history. We've been engaged together ever since in business, so it's been fantastic.
So obviously you've seen the Sky TV HQ, but I mean, surely that's nothing compared to the Lucas TV one.
It's not a patch. Not a patch.
Are you impressed? Do you like the studio?
I think it's lovely. I like this especially. This 1936 is cool.
Yeah. Well, and we've got some great finishes, all courtesy of Lucas, of course, in here.
All sustainable, of course, and very eco.
Yeah, so, completely. Anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about today. So I know some people say the construction industry is a bit backward in coming forward in progressing at a pace with technology and things like that. So would you say all this VR stuff is a little bit of a gimmick?
No, it's a serious disruptor in the industry. It's going to be the way that the whole process works. And at the moment, it's the adventurous and the innovative are doing it. But in a few years' time, I think it's just going to be de facto. Everyone is conceiving their buildings in a digital space, in a digital world, right? Like Fortnite.
And I'm right in saying that VDC is a terminology now that we're seeing a lot more, which is virtual design in construction. It's like a bit like BIM, which is building information modelling. We've got VDC now as the sort of standard. Yeah. And it very much encompasses what Damien's company's doing. So
tell me a bit more about your company then, Damien, exactly. What's your remit? What do you do?
Okay, so we're a digital creative production agency. But we think of ourselves as a consultancy as well, because we don't just produce things that people ask us to. We actually advise our clients on how to transform their process using virtual worlds, and also using our creative insight into what images do, how they speak to people.
So what would you say the benefits of showing people that world in that way are?
Well, really, until you've stood inside a building. Imagine you're designing a complex building like Sky Central or I don't know, a master plan in central London. Imagine standing in the middle of the park inside that master plan, but you're in a virtual world, as if you're in a gaming world, And you can actually look around and you can see the trees moving in the wind and grasses, and there's even an ice cream cellar over there, and then there's the buildings and the entrance to the buildings, and Lucas finishes inside the buildings, and you can experience the whole thing.
So it gets you in the zone.
Yeah, well, you actually see what it is that you're creating. Now imagine trying to design that place without being able to do that.
Much more challenging.
Impossible.
It
right?
brings to life the whole thing. It's just incredible. I mean, you're giving clients that aren't always necessarily able to see from a 2D flat drawing something that when they put that headset on, it's real world. And it allows decisions to be made as well, which is crucial to the design stage.
I mean, that's a big leap for people though, isn't it? Talking about from the drawings with pen and paper to this virtual reality experience where you're actually immersed in your new building. Was there anything in between?
Well, I guess CAD and BIM were in between, but this is the logical conclusion. It's like, I guess, pen and paper was a revolution back in whenever it started. I don't know, Egyptian times, and then the computer screen was the next real revolution, drawing in a virtual space. But virtual reality is the next revolution again. You're not looking at something 2D. You're standing inside an imagined world, and it feels like you're there.
So apart from obviously that experience, then as a customer, you're able to be in your new building and say, "Oh, actually, doesn't quite work with that door over there. It'd be much better over there."
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And then you just go, "Okay, bing."
Yeah, where do you want it to be?
It's such a quick way of working with design, and also from a contracting point of view, Kate, I suppose, just to put another spin on it, because you've got the client side, but you've also got the training, you've got the health and safety, you've got that side of it, the delivery. So in the manufacturing world of cars, they talk about 3D caves, where they can actually virtually build, and then they can get that right for production. Exactly the same is true in construction using this technology, so it's really wide
Okay,
reaching.
so then that technology can then go through to the ordering.
Well, it can go through to everything. I mean, you've got overlay reality as well, and there's things that tie into the BIM model with regards to ordering components in the building that need to be replaced or repaired. So it's endless, actually. It starts a brand new journey off.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So what people like IBM are talking about now is the digital twin, and the digital twin is like a digital replica of the real building, and it starts before the building's made. And then it goes all the way through to after the building is occupied, and it tells you when that light bulb is going to blow because it's 2.5 years old, and who installed that radiator and when. That's
smart buildings.
So you're kind of
Smart
future-proofing it as well then in that way.
Yeah. So we're not really involved in that end of it yet.
No.
Yet.
Not yet. Watch this space.
Watch this space. But we are involved at the beginning of concepting the whole design before it's built.
And by using this technology, in your experience, or both your experience, have you been able to encounter problems that would have arisen on paper that you might not have realised at the time, and actually said, "Oh, let's not do that, let's do this to avoid that"?
Absolutely.
Which then saves loads of money, then the customer's happy.
Yeah, that's the whole idea really.
Right.
I think on Sky, we worked on 8 out of the 9 buildings in virtual reality alongside their leadership team. And the 9th building was the one that was much less efficient because they hadn't seen the issues that came up until it came to construction. So in the construction world, everyone's very used to building a facade and then realising that it's not the right thing and having to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds of cost and time to go back to the drawing board. Well, that shouldn't happen if you've created a digital twin beforehand.
Yeah. So Danny, I mean, this digital twin, it kind of reminds me of when you talk about everything being lean.
Yes.
It kind of ties in nicely with that.
It's a quick way. It's a quick way of getting to the right result before you commit. It's all that planning up front that makes all the difference to allow you to then execute a perfect delivery.
You know, if only I could have a digital twin in life that could do the mistakes, I could then fix them and move forward. It'd be great.
It's
coming. Yeah, I bet it is. It was my idea, by the way. But just talking about, like me, for example, when I'm watching, all the TV makeover shows, and you see the before, and then you've got the money shot, which is the after, which is everything looking amazing, and the family come in, they're like, "Wow, this looks great." do you kind of lose that wow because they've seen it and been in it and pressed it and gone through a door? And
You actually do a little bit, and that's a good thing.
Is
it? Yeah, because most of the time...
See, that was really annoying me.
Like 95% of people, when they have the final built thing, they're like, oh, okay, I should have done that there, and I should have done this here, and if only I'd known that before, I could have got that from over there. Well, that will go away. So the disappointment of the finished thing not being your vision of what it could have been goes.
Yeah.
And actually, most of the time, reality doesn't match up to your imagination of what could be.
No.
So it's worth the sacrifice of stealing the thunder early on.
But you still get a little
To
rumble because they think, wow, actually, here we are now in it for real.
Well, you can smell it when it's real.
And I don't think you can beat the real thing anyway.
No,
I mean,
no.
the VR is amazing, and
Yeah.
it is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But you can't beat the real building as well, of course.
No.
And you do end up with something that has ironed out all of those foibles and things that you wouldn't have been happy with. So I think it's great.
So as we touched upon earlier, I mean, obviously we're going to chat further in a second, Damie, but obviously here at Lucas you're already highly involved in this.
Yes.
And the best way to see what's going on here is to take a look at the Lucas Innovation Centre.
Absolutely, yeah. We've designed the future already with Cityscape.
Yeah.
It's there, it's set out, it's got a pod factory in there.
I know all about it because I've
got
been.
Everything. Brilliant.
Damien, look at this. So it's obvious that virtual reality is very much live and kicking in your world now. So you can confer on this one. Can you tell me some of the sort of landmark buildings and sites that have been designed using this VR technology, or you know, that's played a major part in their development? Yeah,
so it's only really started happening in the last 4 years. So a lot of the projects we're working on haven't come out of the ground yet, or just starting to come out of the ground. But a really significant one has been Elephant Park by Lend-Lease, which is in Elephant and Castle in Zone 1 in central London. Mm-hmm. It's 2,500 homes and a big new park, and it's literally right behind the shopping centre, and it's a major regeneration project for Elephant and Castle.
It's a fantastic area, and actually Lucas have been involved in one of those projects there, and when I saw the CGIs and the walkthrough of the VR at Cityscape a few years ago, the reality of what we've actually delivered over there is so likeable and so exactly how it looked. It's quite amazing. Yeah. Quite amazing.
And does anything else spring to mind for you, Danny?
Well, other projects that I know that Damien's been involved in, the IQL International Quarter London over at the Olympic Park area of Stratford, another major scheme, and as you said, projects that haven't come out the ground yet that maybe we can't mention yet at the moment. There's probably quite a few projects we're involved in there that are under wraps, but this is definitely the way of the future. And what I am really excited about, because you know my passion about the skill shortage problem, is that what Cityscape are doing here is leading perfectly into attracting young people into our industry through the gaming channel, because this has opened up a completely different course of a career.
Yeah, so if anyone at home is watching this and has put down their computer game for 5 minutes to see what we're talking about, they might think, hey, actually, yeah, I want to get into coding, I want to get into this. Maybe gaming could be a career, maybe construction and VR and the CGI also.
Yeah, it's absolutely a career. So we have a graduate working at Cityscape she's 22, I think. She came through learning about creating artistic worlds in Game Engine, and she's now creating London of the future with us.
Fantastic.
Digital architects,
Yeah.
it's just
But
amazing.
on that note, and I don't want to rain on your parade here, because we've said, yes, there's this whole skills shortage and we can train up new people, but what about the architects, the designers that are very much pen and paper based, and they like to sit at their desk and plan everything, that maybe aren't clued into this whole side of VR? Do they need to retrain? Are they going to find there's less and less work for themselves?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, a lot of the architects we work with pretty big architectural firms usually, and they're all pretty digitized up. So we will work with them and they share models with us, and then we'll get round a table and explore in a virtual world. But even architects who are still using pen and paper, and actually the big architects also sketch concepts at the outset before they get modelling, that actually is totally compatible with what we do. And I really believe in sketching, because you can't really replace that sort of the rapidness of creating vision that you can get with a pen and paper. And we can actually go from pen and paper, and we've done it in sessions with pretty major architectural firms, where they're sketching ideas out and we're actually mocking them up in VR as they draw it, straight from sketch to an immersive world.
Perfect.
So
you
it's
can work
blending old
together.
with new, it's blending old with new, it's collaborative. Collaborative.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's great. And actually what I want to do next with it is I want to design tools where architects can actually draw on the screen, just with a stylus. And they can mark up. You can move around the world and go, oh, what if that was like this? And technology like Google Tilt Brush, which you put a headset on and you can paint in 3 dimensions. It's pretty awesome if you ever get a chance to experience it. But I'd like to do that within a virtual built world that we've created. So the architect can stand inside the world and go, actually, I need to redesign the entrance space. What if it was 5 meters taller and it came out like this, and they're painting it inside their space as it's happening?
Perfect.
Okay, can I throw another thing in for you to
Throw
think
away.
of? So on the previous show, we talked about pods and off-site manufacturing.
We did, yeah.
So whilst Damien's talking about the bigger world here of what they're doing on these major projects, if we zoom back down into the Lucas pod world and our Toto pod that you've seen, one of the things that we're going to be doing with Cityscape is bringing that almost a configurator that you'll be able to sort of put a headset on and actually configure your Toto pod.
Nice.
You'll visualise it in the environments that you're thinking of using this.
Great.
So it just shows you that this is really scalable in different ways, but it's just another way of applying that technology. So
Brilliant. Of course,
perfect fit.
If you're watching and you're thinking, what, pods, modular, what's he on about? Last show, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Show 2.
Show 2.
So you can access that on the YouTube channel.
Definitely, yeah. Get and watch that, because it's all about off-site manufacturing and the future of construction.
Yeah.
This fits in perfectly.
So one final question then. Obviously, a lot of what we've talked about has been to do with commercial buildings, maybe parks, areas in the city. Is this kind of filtering through now, do you think, to new build homes, to buying off plan? Are we going to see it Joe Public when they're looking for a house? Are they going to regularly experience this? Are they going to be walking into virtual reality offices rather than estate agents?
Yeah, I think so. When we were talking to people about doing that very thing, but also I think even on the scale of your extension, you want to be able to stand in your back room and go, okay, how big is this rear extension going to be? Put some glasses on and see it and judge whether, am I building it too big, too small? Do I want to step down? How tall do I want it to be? Oh, the light's really nice in the new extension.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, the experience of having to get an extension designed and built is a complete wing and a prayer for people.
It is.
Like, yeah, you commission it and 12 months later you spent a lot of money and you've really got no idea what it's going to be like.
And also talking about extensions, I mean, the world of planning, half the trouble with an extension is getting the planning permission, and sometimes the planners think, oh, that's not going to look right, or the neighbours complain.
Yes.
Does VR come into play there?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because a lot of anxiety around what hasn't been built yet comes from people imagining the worst, right? In the absence of seeing what's really going to happen, people imagine a thing that's probably worse than the thing that will actually happen.
Yeah, I can imagine that, yeah.
So really what planning needs is a forum for the public to be able to experience the thing as it is actually proposed, and form a view on it. And a lot of the time that view will be much more accepting than the fear of their imagination of this thing that's going to be too big, blocking too much light, too much like hard paving. Where are the trees going to go? So we're starting to do this, and in the last year we've done 4 public consultations, I think, maybe more, where we've created in virtual reality the tower and its public realm and the surrounding buildings, and the public get to see, okay, I come out of the tube here, and then, oh, that wall's going to go, and I see this beautiful cobbled space that the developer is going to create, and it's got trees, and the shops are really nice.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a lot they're doing to give back.
That's
Great.
amazing. That's so engaging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Damien. It's been really enlightening, actually, quite fascinating and exciting. The most exciting part, though, you're going to make my digital twin, so just let me know when she's ready. Ideally a bit taller, do you think, Danny? Maybe, possibly.
Your choice, but I'm sure Damien can cater for anything
He
you
can.
need.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's all from us here on The Lucas Show today. We'll see you next time. Before then, you know what to do. In case you don't, Daniel, tell you.
Absolutely. Please subscribe. Keep the comments coming. We're getting some great feedback. And if you want Kate or I to give you a shout out, as Kate said, give us those comments and we'll do that. So thank you.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.